What is the quote? You can't stop them. You can only hope to contain them. I think for us, it's not so much a matter of stopping their running game as much as we want to limit the big plays. I think if we can just do a good job of fitting the run the right way and keep the gains to a minimal, try to get them to feel a little bit antsy and try to feel like they got a little pressure to try to do some other things, I think then that's the win we're looking for. I think if we can make our tackles, that's kind of what plagued us against University of Sioux Falls, then I think we got a chance to have a little bit more success.
How much are the guys looking forward to playing number one?
Well, I think anytime you play the number one team in the country, you should be pretty excited to get up and play those guys. And they're saying the same thing in terms of everybody's trying to knock us off. That's what happens when you're at that level, being number one. So for us, our guys will be excited. They'll be ready to go. A long road trip, that's not a big deal. We do that quite frequently. I think the big thing is, can we keep our passion, our enthusiasm for all 60 minutes?
How about Upper Iowa? They seem to establish that first half of that ground game pretty good. And is that an area of concern now that you know linebackers and D-line have to have that first hit and keep that back from getting a few yards?
Well, I mean, we talk about it every week in terms of being able to stop the run and being able to fit it right. And it's not so much, like I said, and that's not so much us stopping the run as much as it's can we fit it the right way. And we're still learning with all of our young guys to be able to do those things right. And each week we see some of our mistakes, what we're seeing wrong as we build. And when you have two freshmen playing inside linebacker, we know we're going to have some mistakes, and we know that those mistakes are going to benefit us down the road. But we can't cancel the game and we can't run from it. So we just got to keep on plugging away and just doing what we do. And kids are fighting. They got great effort, and that's the most important thing for us.
Was that a game that you felt that though at halftime, especially being down 16, that kind of got away the first half more than you would like to?
Well, I mean, we were in the game, even at halftime, being down 16-0. That's still just a two-possession game. I think when they took advantage of that first turnover and were able to convert it into a touchdown, that's probably where the momentum completely shifted away from us. And then the other two turnovers that we had both ended up in touchdowns. One was a interception for a touchdown, and to kind of seal it at the end, but. We started to scratch and claw. We had a little bit of life once we got that safety off of the sack. Offensively, we went down, drove down the field, and scored a touchdown. So there was a little bit of life there, but we make enough mistakes to really shoot ourselves in the foot.
What's been the biggest reason why you guys seem to keep having these momentum swings that go the other way ultimately, close some games up?
I think the biggest thing is just when you have a bunch of young guys. It's no different than when I'm dealing with my fourth grader. That he does bad on a test, it's like the end of the world's coming. And then when he does something right, or he plays a video game that he likes and something happens great, it's like the best thing that's ever happened in the world. So the emotional highs and lows are just that much more extreme when you're dealing with youth and inexperience. And as they grow and mature and get more experience under their belt, then they'll start to get more of that patient feeling, understand that everything's going to be okay. Being down 6-0 is not the end of the world, but at that point it felt like there was some definite lackluster performance when we're only down by less than a touchdown. We just got to be able to ride through the waves of how that immaturity takes over and let our leaders, as they grow, our captains are juniors and sophomores. We just don't have a whole lot of seniors that can help lead in the direction with their experience. So I think that's why they're so dramatic in shifts, is really because of how young we are.
You guys keep forcing turnovers on defense. Is that going to be one of the bigger reasons that you could hang with a Mankato team?
Well, that would help. We've kind of we haven't been as great at our turnovers in the last couple of weeks that we had earlier in the season, and really you can't. Turnovers happen because you're able to put your hat on the ball or be in position on a pass, and they also have to make a mistake for that to happen. So you can't really prepare for turnovers as much as you just have to be opportunistic. So if we're going to be in any game, we've got to be able to create turnovers, and we got to limit turnovers on offense and get back to being much more positive on that turnover battle.
Yeah, Mankato this week, but throwing that out, but just looking the rest of the way, does this team, do you have areas that you'd like to see still take that step forward where you can build for the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of feel like a broken record at times, but I think you look at some of our key positions. We've got Ben at quarterback. He's still just a sophomore, so he's going through a lot of growing pains on the run. You've got our running backs. We've got Lane Torgerson, who's a converted wide receiver, who's a junior. We've got Lee Webb, who's a true freshman, playing back there. So your two biggest ball carrying positions are young guys. We're playing some freshmen as well with Lofton Klabunde at tight end. You've got Peyton Lamore at wide receiver, and those guys have done a great job, but they still have to grow, not just mentally but physically. And then defensively, it's kind of the same. We even have more young guys playing. I think we've got to continue to grow as a team and be able to play together, which will help really hold off some of those tidal waves of emotions that can tend to happen when something goes bad and when we have to deal with our adversity. So there isn't really any one main point. I think it's easy to, from the outside, to see and expect better play out of the quarterback or better play out of our running back or catching the ball with our wide receivers or our DBs not blowing coverages and things like that. But I think there's a lot more that goes into it with what we're still trying to build, and we're protecting some young guys, and all of that kind of all factors into it.